Thanks for joining us, and welcome to the first edition of Real Time Recap, our opportunity to inform you of interesting things that we've learned throughout the week, interesting in industry news, and how it relates to you. I'm Mark.
And I'm Chelsea.
And we'll go ahead and get started.
Alright, so the first topic today, by now you probably know that Facebook is moving over to a timeline format. So some things to look out for include having a large, appealing cover photo, including any milestones that happen throughout your company's existence, like when you were founded and any interesting events that have happened since. Also remember that you can have custom images on your Facebook tab, so if you have a welcome page, events page, whatever the case is, you can use custom thumbnails. And you can also have, fans can now send you messages privately through the page. So when you log into the page, look out for notifications including comments, likes, but now you can see private messages and keep an eye on those.
Also, some of you have probably been using the timeline format for several weeks, and according to some recent studies on brand engagement, engagement on timeline-specific business pages is up 46%. A lot of people are big fans of the pinning feature, which actually gives businesses the ability to give preferential treatment to a specific post for up to 7 days. You've probably noticed the new engagement metrics. There's a lot of additional information that's there now with the timeline pages that wasn't there previously. And then, I really like the fact that Facebook has really sort of removed the e-commerce, the storefront aspect of the old fan page, where a lot of businesses were actually using it as more or less a place to sell products. With the new timeline format, the onus is really on the business to engage their customers because all of the storefront specific information has been pushed to the back.
And a new feature coming out from Google Analytics is called Social Reports, where you can see different conversions that happened that may have started with an assist from a social network, which ultimately led to a purchase through some other source, and then that was tracked as a conversion. So an example is Sally follows her favorite shoe brand on Twitter. She clicks a link to see the current sale that's going on. She browses but doesn't have time to make a purchase. She comes back the next day through a different source and ends up buying a pair of shoes. By adding some code to your website, you can now track to see which social conversion or which social networks may have led to an ultimate conversion. And again, that's just by adding some code to your website. We're going to try to track that a lot better.
A new site that we discovered this week is called ifttt.com, and really what it stands for is if this then that. And essentially what it is a way for you to create a number of different triggers among different social networks. So for instance, if you wanted to receive a text message every time somebody commented on a particular post on Facebook or posted a photo, this is a social, or this is a web page that you could use for that. If you are interested in maybe streamlining some content and posting something from Facebook immediately to Twitter, you can also create a trigger for that. So it seems to be a very interesting product. There are probably over 100 social networks that it currently syncs with. So it's certainly worth looking into if you're looking to save some time in your social media updating.
All right, another product that came out of Google is called Consumer Surveys. And it allows you to create a custom survey and do some market research at a pretty low cost. It's actually 10 cents per response. So you just go to the link that we'll provide, you create a survey, you can write questions, you pick an audience by demographics, gender, income level, whatever the case is, and you just go ahead and create a survey, and anyone that's logged into Google can answer for you. I actually saw this through my own Twitter feed. I follow Matt Cutts, who is the head of the web spam team at Google. He did his own survey to see how many people in the US actually know what SEO means, search engine optimization. So his question was, do people outside of the industry know what SEO is? And out of 1,576 people, he found out that 1 in 5 actually know what that means. That's approximately 20%. And he broke it down demographically too, and that turned out to be 25% men and 16% women. And And he said the final cost of doing this was about $150. So again, it's called Google Consumer Surveys, and it allows you to just ask a survey and get some feedback on it.
The final bit of information we're going to leave you with this week is really just kind of, I found it particularly interesting. For years, the one site that has dominated Google rankings above all others has been Wikipedia. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Wikipedia. You see Wikipedia listings regardless of what you search for. Well, this past week, Amazon has finally passed Wikipedia, and Amazon is now the #1 site from a volume standpoint, according to Google. So I thought that was a little interesting. Anyway, thanks for joining us for our first real-time recap. We will be back in 2 weeks with the next edition. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.